Hello again and welcome back to the PhatPhish Guitar Studio. I'm Dave and this is the first video I've made for quite a while. I've been pretty busy, haven't had a chance to sit down in front of the camera and shoot videos for YouTube. But I have been playing guitar quite a bit, and when I have been playing guitar, generally it's been this one. It's the newest addition to the family. It's the Aura from Williams Guitars. Got this back end of last year, so autumn last year, and really enjoy it. It's a cracking guitar, as all Hayden Williams guitars are. They're really well built. I really enjoy it, and I'll go so far as to say I endorse it. Ah, you say, you endorse it, that means he gave it to you for free. You got an endorsement deal. No, that's what this video is about. I've had a few conversations recently with people in various bits of the music industry about endorsement deals, and realised it's one of the most overused and misunderstood words. So I want to talk in this video a bit about what endorsement actually means, how you get it, what the implications of having an endorsement are. So let's get into it. What endorsement means is being prepared to make a positive statement about a thing, whether it's a product or a service, putting your name, putting your reputation behind that statement that something is good. Like I just did, I'm quite happy to say this is a good guitar. I know the guy who makes it. He's a really nice guy. He's an incredible craftsman. The product he makes is wonderful. I make positive statements about it, and you can quote me on the fact that this is a good guitar. That's me endorsing it. We talk about endorsement in the context of guitars a lot, but it doesn't have to be guitars. It could be any product, any service, anything that you consume. For example, the camera that I'm recording this on now, it's a Canon 6D Mark II. I'm a big fan of Canon cameras and Canon lenses. I use them a lot for still photography. You always use them in the studio here for shooting video. I'm happy to make positive statements about the Canon brand, and if you came to me and said what would I recommend as a digital SLR, I'd recommend any of these ones from Canon, because I'm happy to endorse the brand. But again, I don't have a deal with Canon. I don't get free stuff from them. I'm just happy to recommend them. In the same way that someone asked you what your favorite brand of baked beans is or something like that, you could make an endorsement about what you think is a good value, nutritious tin of baked beans. What people seem to think it means, though, is free stuff. Now, an endorsement deal doesn't always, it can involve free stuff, but really, as I say, it's about being prepared to evangelize and make positive statements about a product. And it's a two-way thing, that you would be endorsing a product and saying to the public, to your audience, I play this particular style of music. I use this guitar. I think it's very well suited. I like the way that it's made. I think it's a good quality thing, and the guitar manufacturer or whatever gets some PR out of that in return. But they're kind of endorsing you, that they're happy to have their brand associated with you and your image. They think that there's a fit between you and your image, them and their image. So an endorsement thing is a two-way street. You get something out of it, but the supplier gets something out of it too. So let's dig into that a little bit more. What do you get? We talked about free stuff. Do you get a free guitar? You might. Very likely you don't. Not all endorsements mean free stuff. It might just be that you get something at a discount. It might mean that you get to jump the queue for a product that's in short supply, where there's a longer lead time for the general public. It might mean that you pay full retail and you just get better after-sales service or better support from the manufacturer. There's various degrees depending on what it is that's being endorsed, and more crucially, who you are. What's your status in the music industry? What are you going to bring to the table for the manufacturer? The manufacturer will expect you to use their product and be seen using it, because then they will get exposure. You'll be opening up opportunities for them, that if people who like your style of music and want to play your style of music see that you're playing a particular brand of guitar, then they're more likely to go out and buy that guitar or that brand of guitar and bring income back into the the guitar company. So the guitar company gets something out of it as well, but you'd be expected to work for that. It's like I say, it's a deal, it's a commercial arrangement where there's things that are expected of both parties, to be honest. Yeah. I've used the word deal a few times, and it's important to stress that an endorsement deal is a commercial legal arrangement where you sign a contract saying that you are going to prepare to endorse a company or a product or whatever in return for, whether say it's free stuff or discounted stuff, but there'll be things that you're expected to do as part of that contract. You'll be seen to use it. At the very least, make a certain number of social media posts, tagging that company in, being seen to get the brand in frame. If you get your photograph taken, you might be expected to do like clinics in conjunction with the manufacturer. I know a few guitar players who have endorsements with a particular brand of guitar, and then they'll say, right, well, we're doing a sales campaign. We're going to go around doing clinics and doing demos at a chain of guitar stores, and they will wheel out their endorsee who will basically do a tour of guitar stores, doing demonstrations and doing clinics and being seen to use the product and telling people why they use the product and how good it is and helping to drive sales. So you're going to be doing some work, but you will get something in return, like I say, whether it's free or discounted stuff. I guess the pinnacle of an endorsement is something like a guitar company that say, we like you so much, we're going to design and build a signature guitar for you. There's going to be your signature model released for commercial sale, and then you get royalties from people who are buying that. There's loads of signature guitars out there on the market, and that's like the real top end of like an endorsement deal. But to be honest, if you're watching a clown like me on my little YouTube channel, that's not you. You're not going to be getting that sort of guitar endorsement deal. If you've achieved that level of fame, I don't think you're watching my videos. Now, I'll give you a real world example from the world of PhatPhish picks. This is Pat Buzzard. I got to know Pat through his music with a band called Saving Jane a number of years ago. I did an interview with him on the channel a few years ago. I'll put a link to that in the information section. Actually, it was quite a fun interview. But after I did that interview, we kind of kept in touch, struck up a friendship, and shortly after that, I launched PhatPhish Picks. And because I respect Pat as a musician, as a guitar player, and I value his opinion as a friend, I sent him some free picks. As here you go. What do you think of these? And it turned out he really liked them. He sent me a lot of positive feedback, and without any requests from me, he was going out and telling people how great these guitar picks were. Then he approached me and said, could you possibly make me some in a particular shape and a particular size? And because I knew he was already like into the product, I was quite happy to invest a bit of time, and we came up with something that says, hey, just for the hell of it, let's call this the Buzzard signature pick. So that's like a model now that's available through the PhatPhish Picks store, and Pat regularly orders batches of these from me. We don't have a formal endorsement because it's more of a friendship thing with us, but he'll buy picks from me. But because he endorses the product, he still tells all his guitar playing buddies about the picks and says how much he likes them. He always gets queue jumping privileges if he wants picks made, and I've got other work on. He gets like privilege of I'll probably bump his order up to the head of the queue. He certainly doesn't pay full. I'm not going to go into the nitty gritty of the finances, but he certainly doesn't pay full whack. He gets mates rate, if you like. If I've got anything interesting on the bench, I might chuck in one or two extra picks with his orders, because I know he endorses the product, and I'm really grateful for him giving it the positive exposure. So that's a small scale example of what endorsement means. Getting something in return from me, but you are going out and being seen to be using the product and saying positive things about it. I've got other customers who regularly buy from me, but they're not evangelizing about the product. They're not being seen to be using it. So for me, they're just repeat customers. They might get a bit of discount if they come back and place a large repeat order, but I'm not going to treat them like endorsees. So when it comes to like getting an endorsement, I think that's an important thing, that you have to already be using the product. If you just approach me out of the blue, never used a PhatPhish pick before, and said, are you offering any endorsements? The answer is going to be no, because you can't possibly endorse this. You've never bought any products from me. You've not been using the product enough to be able to say whether you like it or not. If you say you like it, are you just saying that because I gave you free stuff? No, I want to know that you like the product and you mean it. So I think if you're approaching anybody for endorsement, you already have to have some sort of investment, some sort of relationship with the brand as a user, so you can make a qualified statement that, yes, I like this particular brand of guitar or amp or pedal or whatever. Now, I've talked to a lot of people recently about, in the pick making community, there was loads of discussions about like my fellow pick makers who are getting approached by people who want endorsements. I've talked to guitar makers, pedal makers, same thing, people just approaching them out of the blue saying, hey, are you doing endorsements? And what they're actually saying is, can I have some free stuff? And that's not what it's about. If someone's going to be considering giving you an endorsement, they've got to know that you are properly using the product and you are in a position to endorse it. Possible exception to that would be maybe in like a new company that's starting up, or somebody that's launching a new range and they're looking to expand their reach. I've seen a couple of guitar companies do this in the past, where they say, you know, we're launching and we're looking for people to become members of the X Guitars family. If you're interested in being an endorsee, you know, send us some information about yourself, you know, links to YouTube videos, some, you know, demos of you playing or whatever. But there's still going to be a process where they audition you. It's not just by writing in you automatically get free stuff and get an endorsement deal. They're going to be looking for all the things I was talking about, where they're going to see, is there a fit between what you do and what their product is intended to be used for? Does your image match their image? Do you look like you're going to be enthusiastic? Are you actually already enthusiastic about the gear that you're using? That is a good sign that you would be enthusiastic about something else if it's a good fit for what you do. But it's still going to be a case of you need to qualify for that. It's not just a given by saying, hey, I'm interested in endorsing, and you'll automatically get free stuff. It doesn't work like that. Hi, it's Dave from the future here. I realised something I forgot to mention when I was recording that video was the subject of scams. This is cases where companies will advertise for, do you want to come and endorse our product? And what that generally involves is playing to people's egos by saying, oh, we'll give you an endorsement. What they're actually offering to do is sell you a product at a, quote, discounted price. What that actually means is the price is generally vastly inflated, and the discount gets it down to something like a realistic price. Even then, sometimes it's overpriced for what it actually is. They're basically just looking to shift product under the guise of, this is an endorsement, so it's an incentive for you to buy it. Excellent example of that would be TTM guitars. I'll not go into all the details on them, but if you want to know the full story, have a look at Levi Clay. His channel on YouTube's got a few videos about that. But basically, the bottom line is, beware of scammers, people who just want to prey on your ego by saying, we'll give you an endorsement, where basically what they want to say is, we want to take money off you for something. Okay, so let's say you've got yourself an endorsement deal. You've come to an arrangement with a guitar company. Let's talk about it in the context of guitar endorsement, where they'll give you a free guitar, and in return you'll be seen to be playing it, and you'll make positive statements about it and social media posts and all that sort of stuff. That's all good, isn't it? Well, not necessarily, because, and this is why you don't just automatically jump into an endorsement. You don't just sign your life away, because there could be some constraints on you, what you can and can't do. For example, the deal is you're seen to be playing X brand of guitar. You might find that the deal is you're seen to be playing X brand of guitar exclusively. So that means if you go out and you play a gig, and there's one number in the gig where you really want to play a Stratocaster rather than this, like a Fender Strat, rather than this humbucker equipped thing that you got from brand X, you can't do that. You're in a legal a legally binding arrangement with a company that you're seen to be playing their guitars exclusively. You can't be seen to be playing a Fender or a Gibson or whatever, because that's not allowed. You're contractually obliged to only play that company's guitar. You might get a bit of wriggle room that if the company only makes electric guitars, that you could play somebody else's acoustics. But if it's murky waters, so you need to be conscious of that. That's a big constraint. I mean, I've seen at least one case where somebody had an endorsement with a company and they weren't allowed to be seen. It was along the lines of you couldn't be seen in a positive context with other gear. And the example was, I can't remember the names of the brands, so I'll keep this slightly vague. That somebody had. The story was there was a YouTuber who was working something up on his channel, and there was going to be a big competition or something like that. And like the launch video for this, he was going to get this other guitarist in, and this other guitarist had an endorsement deal with a brand other than what the YouTuber used. And he was going to come in and just be involved with this video a little bit. So he came in, with his guitar or whatever. And this YouTuber had invested so much time and money into this project. But then when he put the video up, the endorsee guitarist got a phone call from the company endorsing, this video needs to be taken down. Get in touch with this YouTube and get him to take his video down, because you're in shot with him and he plays a different brand of guitar, and you can't be seen to be associated with that brand. They're a rival. Now that sounds harsh, but that was what the deal that the guy had signed up to when he got his endorsement, and he had to kind of go a bit crestfallen to the YouTuber and say, look, sorry, I know you've invested all this time and money in launching this competition, but you're going to have to can it, because I'm going to lose my endorsement. I'm going to get fined for breach of contract and all this horrible stuff because I've breached my contract. I've been seen with a brand that I don't endorse. So it can be quite constraining, and that's something you need to be aware of. Remember as well that endorsement won't go on forever. You as a viable commodity as an endorsee will have a certain shelf life. There are some guitar players, names that come to mind, like Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, Eric Clapton. Three names there endorsing Ibanez, and in the case of Clapton, Fender and Martin guitars. They've got huge reputations. They're constantly influencing people and bringing in new business for the guitar companies, and they're happy to be associated with them. But a lot of guitar players, they're in the endorsement business. They bring business into the company that they got the endorsement deal with, but eventually that target market gets saturated, and it's not worth the company's while to keep giving away product or keep putting money and effort and time into having an endorsement arrangement with somebody who's not going to be giving them a return on their investment. At the end of the day, it's the music business. The emphasis is on business. They have to be able to make money on the back of this. So expect that, unless you're Steve Vai or Joe Satriani or something like that, the endorsement deal might come to an end. And another very cautionary thing about endorsement deals, you might not actually get to keep the product. Yeah, you might get a free guitar as part of your endorsement, in that here is a guitar, we don't want any money for it. It's part of the endorsement deal. But when the endorsement deal expires or breaks off, well, you have to give that product back. Certainly the example I heard, somebody quoted to me about somebody who'd jumped ship from one guitar manufacturer to another. And the question was, how many of guitar manufacturer A signature guitars does this guy have? And the answer is none, because he had to give them all back when he went from company A to company B. So bear that in mind. Free is not necessarily free for life. It could just be free for the period of the endorsement. So that's something to be aware of. There's loads of different variations on what is offered or expected as part of an endorsement deal, but be aware that some of the downsides can be quite extreme. So I've talked about what you get out of endorsements. I've talked about the downsides. So on balance, is it worth it? Well, if you look at the number of guitarists out there who are endorsing, I mean, you look at any website, any guitar magazine, you'll see countless signature products, countless cases where people are obviously endorsing a brand or endorsing a product. Obviously, that works for them. It's obviously working commercially and artistically for them. So yes, it's worth it for them. I think the answer is it can be worth it, but there are downsides to be aware of, and you might be offered an endorsement that's just so constraining that actually it's to your detriment, and you'd be better off without the endorsement. What you've got to remember is, what are you looking at that endorsement for? People are often, as I said at the start of the video, it's about, I want free stuff. You're not going to get an endorsement just by going in there and wanting free stuff. You're going to get an endorsement because you already have some ability. You're already established as an artist with the gear that you've got. So you don't need gear. You've got gear. You've got a guitar or guitars. You've got an amp. You've got everything that you need to make music. An endorsement will maybe make your life easier, but lack of an endorsement isn't a barrier to you creating music. I think sometimes people use it as a measure of their achievement, like, oh, if somebody can give me a free product, then I've achieved a certain level of in my career because I've reached endorsement level. There's other ways to measure your success, whether it's your YouTube statistics, your Spotify statistics. Certainly won't be Spotify income because they pay a pittance, but there's plenty of ways that you can measure your worth as a musician. How many people are coming to your gigs, how many people are buying your CDs and your merch online. Let's say how many people are watching you and listening to your stuff online. There's plenty of measures. You don't need an endorsement for that. If the situation presents itself, that's great, but there's probably better uses of your time and effort than going out chasing endorsements. Invest your time in practicing your instrument, in writing music, in making videos or making product, in sharing your music with people. If you do have some spare capacity to chase an endorsement, then do. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as you bear in mind everything I've said, so people will take you seriously. But don't burn through valuable time that you technically can't afford just for chasing something material like an endorsement, if that makes sense. Okay, I hope you found that interesting, and hopefully it's cleared up a bit about what endorsement actually means, and if endorsement is something that you've been chasing, hopefully it's clarified a few things and maybe set you on the right track. If you did enjoy the video, please click like down there, and if you really enjoyed it and you want to see other videos that I post on the channel, then please click subscribe down there and click the bell icon as well. That way you get notified of any new videos that I upload onto the channel. You're welcome to leave a comment, get involved in the conversation. If there's something specific you want to ask me, whether it's about guitars, guitar playing, music theory, anything at all, you're better off going here, filling that form in. That way the question comes direct to me. YouTube's a bit rubbish at notifying me when people leave comments on videos. I often have to go chasing them. So if there's something you want to draw my attention to, that form is the best way to do it. Okay, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.